Good morning, it's Ray. I'm an elementary school teacher at an international school, and I'm currently teaching my class online from home in my home country, the UK. I've definitely got into a routine by now, and here's a fairly typical day in the life. I hope that you enjoy it. So today I miraculously woke up without an alarm. That is not part of my normal routine. It was such a gorgeous morning. I'm sleeping in the loft and the light was coming in through the windows, and yeah, it was a pretty lovely start to the day actually. And one of the loveliest things about being back in my childhood home with my parents, even though I am 28, I have a cup of tea left at the bottom of the stairs for me in the morning. So I went downstairs to get that. Then I came back upstairs to bed and planned my day out in time blocks on OneNote. In the absence of the usual school timetable, I find this by far the most helpful way of making sure that I get done in a day everything that needs to get done. And then, as I'd woken up earlier than anticipated, I had a lovely half hour of reading in bed. I was starting The Reluctant Fundamentalist, which is actually a reread for me. I had a book club on it on Sunday, and this particular filming day was a Thursday, so I thought I had better get going with it, even though I am in the middle of a couple of other books that I haven't finished just yet. I went to the bathroom and got ready for the day. Then at 8 o'clock I started working, just doing email checks and responding to any new messages. I had a meeting with one of my students planned for 8:30 in the morning, and so I printed off a couple of work tracking sheets and just went through to see which pieces of the work that I had set she had done and which ones she still needed doing, so that I would be able to help her when I talked that through with her. I teach first grade at an American school, and the children are 6 and 7 years old. A meeting is supposed to look like this. Hello, how are you? Good. Should we sing the good morning song? You ready? Singing the greeting song and then talking about what the child's been up to, how they're getting on, potentially doing an activity together on the screen before saying goodbye. But what the meeting actually looked like was this, because the child never turned up. I'm sure that this is true for teachers working in really every kind of school, that we're constantly dealing with these no-shows in online situations, but I feel like it might be exacerbated even more working at an international school, because this student, for example, is currently living in Africa, and I had a really apologetic email from the parents later saying that they had real issues with the internet connection in the morning. And it does still seem to be the case that it's harder to connect with people online when they're living in different countries in the world. After sitting in an empty Zoom call for half an hour and finishing off going through my emails, I got on with one of the main tasks for me of teaching online, which is responding to children's work on the online platform that we use called Seesaw. It's a kind of Facebook for children's schoolwork, where I set them activities and they do them and post them back to me, and then I give them feedback. Again, working at an international school, I don't really do any sort of live teaching, with the exception of the occasional meeting with a child in my class, like the one this morning, which was a kind of scheduled extra to support a child who was struggling. The bulk of my job is done through preparing resources, sending videos through to my class, and then giving individualised feedback and next steps for every piece of work that every child in my class does. At around 10 o'clock, I have a break and get some breakfast. I made a blueberry spinach smoothie. Then I did some exercise. I just do a dance workout video to get my blood flowing. Then I did a little bit of ballet because it fuels my soul. More standard work and lesson planning. I actually ended up doing loads of lesson planning today because a colleague was feeling overwhelmed, so I did some stuff for his class too to help him out. I feel like I've been so privileged during lockdown because I genuinely love living with my family again. We have enough space that I have a room to work in by myself. I think it's so important to recognise that privilege and help others out where we can. I ate lunch outside in the sunshine. Then moved into my old childhood bedroom, now the study, to do even more lesson planning. Here I'm watching loads of YouTube videos to find one which have both appropriate and relevant content for teaching children how houses have been built over time around the world. Thank goodness for Google Chrome video controller extension, meaning that I can speed these up and just whiz through them. My last job of the day was reading a story for my class. I chose this one called Seren's Seasons, which I got as part of my subscription to the life-saving teaching website Twinkle. I love that in their stories they always have protagonists of different ethnicities and living in different family situations. In this one, Seren lives with her grandma, which I thought was cool. I read the story, then sent it as a message to my class. Always makes me realise how much I miss them doing this at a distance. After work, Mum, Dad and I had dinner and watched an episode of the good old 90s New Adventures of Superman, which has become our lockdown TV of choice. I was planning on doing some reading after this, but Mum really wanted to watch the Kate Beckinsale adaptation of Emma, because she had just finished rereading the book, so we stuck to the 90s vibe and watched that too. Finally, I drew a bath, lit my favourite candle, which smells like a pine forest, and had a relaxing soak before going to sleep. I got into bed at around 10:30 and read until I fell asleep. Thanks so much for watching. I've worked really hard on creating this balanced routine which gives me energy so that I in turn can pass that energy and enthusiasm onto the children in my class. I hope you enjoyed watching and I'll see you in the next video.